I get asked this question quite a bit, and I just had a friend ask yesterday about a pallet of solar panels that he found that's used, and he was wondering, since it was a pretty good deal it seemed, should he get those or not? And what I thought I'd do is just recap our conversation so you guys can decide, are used panels better for me, or should I look at the new panels? There's several pros and cons that we're going to go over, and at the very end I'm going to talk about what I think is going to be your biggest deciding factor on what makes the most sense for you. So let's start with the warranty. A lot of people are worried that if they get used panels, they're not going to have a good warranty. And solar panels like this are going to have normally a 25-year warranty. Those are only going to be good for the person that originally buys them. So any used panels, pretty much not going to have a warranty on there. Even people that are refurbishing aren't going to give you a warranty. Now, is that a concern for you? For me, not so much. And here's why. These panels are pretty simple systems. It's not like your appliances in your house that seem to go out every couple of years, your car, or even the other stuff in your solar. If you're looking at your inverters, batteries, they're not going to have near the life expectancy of these panels. There's not much that can go wrong with these. So as long as they work when they first get here and they get put up, they're probably going to continue to work. They're going to lose a little bit of efficiency over time, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but overall, they're probably not going to have a lot of issues panel to panel whether you go used. Matter of fact, one of the biggest issues you might have is on these used, especially if they haven't been refurbished, is the connectors. But those are pretty easy to do. If you're okay just changing out connectors, then even those wouldn't be a big deal for you. So in the end, the warranty is not going to be a big sway for me one way or another. Now, availability is another, because if you find used panels, they are available now. In almost all cases, when people list used panels, they want them gone right away. Whereas new panels, you may be waiting a while for those to come in. So if it's something you want to just go pick up something right away, then look for a pallet of used panels to go pick up. So next thing I want to talk about is efficiency, and there's really two parts to that. The first is going to be, how efficient are the panels still doing, how much are they performing? Because over the years, you're going to have degradation, which is going to have your panels losing how much they produce, each year. Now, the first year is going to be your hardest hit, and that can be anywhere from 1% to 3% that it'll come down. The second year is going to be less than that, and then pretty much after the second year, depending on how good your panels are, whether you had high quality panels or not, you're going to be somewhere between 1/3 and 0.5% what they're going to lose. So when you look at the life of a 25-year, most of these panels are still going to be doing 80 to 90% efficiency after the 25-year mark. So in my opinion, if you get a 5-year-old panel and you're still at 95, 96, even 97% efficient, that's not going to be something that's going to really concern me. Now, you can still use panels after 25 years, but they're going to just continue to go down in how much they produce. So that's going to be up to you. You may be looking at panels that are 5 years old, and you're like, you know what? I don't want to lose that 5 years that I'm going to have on my roof before I replace them, because I don't want to go up and do it again. That may make more sense to be a new panel for you. Versus if you're looking at a pretty good savings, you might be, you know what, I really don't care. And even if it gets below 80%, I have plenty of room to put more panels, so I'm fine if they go down below that. Which is going to lead me to the next one on efficiency. So the newer panels, especially like these or the bifacial, they are going to be very good at per square foot of panel, how much it produces. So if you have an area that's a really tight area, you need to make sure that you're buying the most efficient panel per square foot that you possibly can. And these used panels are not going to be it. The newer ones are just going to have better technology in it, and it's going to be one of those situations where if you're at a limited space, you go with the new ones. Whereas if you've got room, this is an entire carport, and there's another carport that we're getting ready to put up behind it, that's going to be something you can absolutely have plenty of room for. If you find a good deal on used panels, go ahead and get those. All right, and then finally, let's get to the heart of whether it makes sense to buy used panels or go with the new, and that's going to be the money aspect. And there's really three parts you want to look to on that. The first is going to be, what kind of discount are you getting on the used panels? If you're getting panels that are, say, 4 or 5 years old, and it's 50% off, so you're getting 50 cents on the dollar, that may be something that makes sense for you. And so in my friend's case, he didn't have round numbers, but I'm just going to say, to keep this easy, say his pallet would have been $10,000 for new panels, and he's getting them for 50% off, which would be $5,000 for the pallet. Now, on the surface, that seems like a no-brainer, right? You're like, 5,000 versus 10,000. I'm absolutely going to do the 5 and save that money for panels that are still going to be mostly efficient from what it would have been on new. But let's take into account a couple other things. One, we have a tax credit. So if you're able to use the tax credit, that's going to be a 30% tax credit off that. So that $10,000 pallet of new solar panels is now going to go down to $7,000. So the difference between $5,000 and $7,000, that's not looking quite as big a deal. So that may be something that you're like, you know what, for that extra $2,000, I would just like to have something with a warranty that I get that extra 5 years on, that they're going to be more efficient, and you're just good to go with the new. But let's talk about the tax credit. If you don't have enough taxable income to actually offset that tax credit to use it the next year, then that may be a concern for you, and you're not going to have the taxable income, then that would be, basically back to $10,000 for those solar panels instead of the $7,000 because of the tax credit on there. Now, the other side to the money on that is even when you do a tax credit, which don't get me wrong, I love the tax credit. I think it's a great thing that we have to make the solar more affordable, but you're going to be waiting, depends on what time of year you buy them, anywhere from 6 months to 18 months to get that credit back, because the year that you install them, that's going to go on that year's taxes. So when you file your taxes the following year, that's when you get that money back. And a lot of people are just going to have that extra money to pony up for the new panels now to get it back that next year. So that means if you just can't put up as many panels because you don't have that money to lay out, or maybe you don't put as many batteries in, or you change your inverter systems, that could be a big deciding factor that, hey, the use makes a lot more sense. Let's go with that, and I can get the system in place that I actually want on there. Now, the last part of the money is how are you paying for it? Now, it's real simple. If you've got the money in your account and you're able just to go ahead and write the check for it, then it really doesn't matter. But if you're getting a loan, depending on the type of loan you're getting, you may need to get new panels. Now, if you're getting something like a HELOC, which is going to be a home equity line of credit, then they don't care what these panels are because they're not doing anything off of the panels. They're doing it off of your home equity, and you can use that money for whatever you want to. However, if you're getting a loan that's specifically tied to this system, then they're going to require new panels, so you really wouldn't have the option to go ahead and get the used. Or you may end up splitting and doing some new, some used, but they're only going to loan you money on the new panels, and you'd be paying for the used panels basically on your own. So you may be wondering what my friend ended up deciding. He runs a small homestead. He rarely has any taxable income at the end of the year, the way he's able to write everything off with his farm. And so he doesn't really have a good option for a tax credit. It wasn't really gaining anything for the 30% for him on that. The other thing that was a big deciding factor for him is he's paying for this with his money. He's not getting a loan. And if he paid the extra 50% for the new panels, that's going to really put a dent in how many panels he could buy and also how many batteries he can put in, because he's wanting to get plenty of battery storage. And that was going to basically cost him a battery by going with new versus used. Now, those panels that we were looking at, I'm not sure if he's actually going to get those because he may be able to find a better deal if he spends a little time looking, and his project's going to be about 6 months off. So I think he's going to hold off on that one, but he's made a decision used is the way to go for him. Now, again, if you're the type of person that you have plenty of taxable income where you can offset that full tax credit, and it's not going to put you in a bind to have the money now for the solar panels and then get it back later, then that 20% difference may make a lot more sense for you to go ahead and just go with the new panels versus the used. But really, that's going to be everything you need to decide to say, hey, should I get used or should I get new? Because it is going to depend from person to person. I hope the discussion on new versus used panels is able to help you in your unique situation decide, what makes sense for you and your solar system and what you're doing. Make sure you subscribe and then check out our other videos on DIY solar. That way we can help save you more money in anything that you're doing with your solar projects. Have a great day.